Welcome to Who's Number One. I'm Trey Wingo. The emotional pull is universal and irresistible. America loves the underdog. If we had our way, Cinderella would put on that magical footwear every single night. But then, of course, the novelty and the appeal would wear off. No, we need these upsets, the toppling of dynasties, to be spread out. The time between only sweetens what is to come, and what comes now is ESPN Classic's 20 best Cinderella stories of all time.
2020.
And they're off, and this is a goal.
It was an event that brought America to a standstill for a minute 56 seconds.
Seabiscuit leads by a length. Now Seabiscuit by a length and a half.
2020.
In 1938, the sport of kings was turned into a party for millions of ordinary Americans caught in the Great Depression. The catalyst was a short-legged stallion named Seabiscuit. In a match race in Baltimore, the California horse met the previous year's Triple Crown winner, a 1-4 favorite.
War Admiral was by Zeus, out of Venus. Seabiscuit was by a foot soldier out of a handmaiden.
And they're off, and this is a goal.
The consensus was that the way this race would be run would be that War Admiral would take the lead and that Seabiscuit would lay behind.
And Seabiscuit is outrunning him.
People were astonished. My God, Seabiscuit is outrunning War Admiral.
Seabiscuit is the winner by 4 lengths.
If you made it up, nobody would believe it.
I think everybody identifies with the underdog. They want them to win. They don't always do it. But this is one story where they did.
1919.
For Indiana State, number 33 at center, Larry Bird.
Bird taking that team to the finals in 1979 is the single greatest individual feat in the history of college basketball.
19.
It was one of the great matchups in college basketball. Michigan State against Indiana State for the national championship. Magic Johnson led a talent-laden Spartans team, while Larry Bird, the NCAA Player of the Year, was the only reason Indiana State was unbeaten.
You look at the team that he brought to the finals, it shows you his leadership and how he makes so many people better, because that was not a great team.
Indiana State University was not on anybody's radar.
It just happened that this year, the synergy was there. And everything just clicked together.
To lead a team like Indiana State to the NCAA Finals, you knew he was going to be great.
And from Michigan State, wearing number 33 at guard, Urban Magic Johnson.
And here he is playing against this kid who came out with the big-time reputation, Urban Magic Johnson.
And he is fouled. Look at Urban Magic Johnson.
They established a rivalry that night when Michigan State beat Indiana State, and that rivalry continued for another decade or longer.
Michigan State University, national champions, 1979.
That was one of the great college Cinderella games that I think I've ever seen.
18.
Placement down, Benatere's field goal try for the win is good. It's good. And the New England Patriots have won Super Bowl 36.
It was crazy. It was insane. I almost had an aneurysm. I lost my mind.
18.
When the Rams, winners of the 2000 Super Bowl, met the Patriots for the NFL championship 2 years later, few outside of New England expected anything less than a blowout by St. Louis. The Pats were 14-point underdogs.
Everybody thought the Rams were just going to throw the ball all over the place on these guys and run them right out of the Superdome.
At quarterback, number 13, Kurt Warner.
The Rams had introduced themselves and gone through endless fanfare and waving, and then the Patriots came out, introduced as a team. That's when I thought, like, son of a they could win this game.
Back to pass is Warner. Looks, fires left. It is wide open to the 10. Touchdown, Ricky Bro.
When they scored and tied it up, and I looked up at the clock with a minute 40-something left, I said, they screwed up. They gave us too much time.
Here's Brady. He dumps it to Wiggins down to the 30, and now no question Vinatieri's reign.
Nobody in the whole world expected us to win except for about 50 guys, in our locker room.
Adam Vinatieri, no time on the clock, and the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36.
The Patriots winning at a time when everyone's heart was filled with patriotism brought the nation together in a context where people were hoping to have just that type of an event to cheer for.
17.
Down goes Moore on a right hand. It happened. It happened.
There was one person on earth who took George Foreman's comeback seriously, and that was George Foreman.
I'm back.
17.
In November of 1994, George Foreman, at 45, met Michael Moore in a bid to regain the heavyweight title he had lost 20 years earlier to Muhammad Ali. With a smiling face known to millions in commercials, Mr. Mean had become Mr. Clean.
We've never seen a metamorphosis of any sports star in our lives like George Foreman. I mean, one is the grizzly bear, the other is the teddy bear.
The one thing you don't want to say around is cheeseburger.
Solid right hand by Moore. Foreman's left eye beginning to close.
For those of us at ringside and working press would turn to each other and going, what's holding this guy up?
Down goes Moore on a right hand. It happened. It happened.
I don't think there's any accomplishment like that you can find anywhere else in sports. I once heard somebody ask whether it was just as impressive for Jack Nicklaus to win the Masters at age 46 as it was for George Foreman to win the heavyweight championship at age 45, and this person stated the obvious. Nobody was hitting Jack.
16.
It was Boom Boom Becker. Not only was it a great Cinderella story, that Wimbledon, more than anything else, changed tennis into a different era.
16.
Unseeded and under the radar, 17-year-old Boris Becker won tennis's glass slipper in 1985 when he defeated 8th-seeded American Kevin Curran to become the first German to win the men's singles title at Wimbledon.
30. Ace. 21.
There's this big, strong kid unleashing these big boom, boom serves. And everyone thought, what's going on here?
22nd ace.
He was hitting shots at a speed and a power that people hadn't even seen before. And he's playing with complete lack of fear.
Game to Becker.
Every time he walked on the court with that majestic stride, you felt, this is a champion.
Really the sort of the start of the modern power attacking game. It was breathtaking.
15.
Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable! I don't believe what I just saw.
We all realized after we came back and beat the Oakland A's in Game 1 that the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1988 had a real shot at bringing that trophy home. And that's what you think about when you go around the bases. This dream may really be coming true.
15.
With 104 victories in 1988, the Oakland A's were led by the Bash brothers, Jose Canseco and Mark McGwire. The Dodgers, meanwhile, had one of the weakest hitting lineups ever to win a pennant. That's on paper, of course, which is not where they play the World Series.
They had a powerful club. McGwire, Canseco, Connie Lansford, Dave Parker, and we had really great names like Jeff Hamilton, Danny Heap, Mickey Hatcher, real great names.
High fly ball into right field. She is gone. In a year that has been so improbable, the impossible has happened.
I knew that the Cinderella season wasn't maybe just a Cinderella season. We served notice to the Oakland A's that day that they were in for the fight of them lives.
Got him. They've done it. Like the 1969 Mets. It's the impossible dream revisited.
If you went and looked at that team today, you would say, how do those guys ever win it?
Nobody thought we could beat the team who won 104 games. Nobody believed it.
14.
Daly was like a force of nature. He was someone that golf had never seen before.
Maybe that was because John Daly had only been playing professional golf for 4 years when he unexpectedly received an invitation to compete in the 1991 PGA Championship. After not having played a single practice round, Daly won by 3 strokes.
John, you were 9th alternate to get into this tournament. You've got to be thrilled to death. What are your feelings?
I'm just going to, you know me, Bobby, I'm just going to go out and hit it hard and play the best I can play.
Watching John Daly drive a golf ball, the first time you saw it up close, you had never seen anything like that before. And grip it and rip it was his philosophy, and people loved that.
Seeing Daly at Crooked Stick was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime sort of experience. I'll never forget it, because here was a guy, he just came out of the blue. He was like a myth.
Wow, it was wonderful. I couldn't believe I did it. It was the fastest 4 days of my life, I think.
13.
The French called her La Gazelle Nera, the Black Gazelle, because she had that wonderful grace about her.
How she did what she did is as much a Cinderella story as you're going to find in 20th century sports.
13.
Born into grinding poverty as the 20th of 22 children, Wilma Rudolph survived pneumonia, polio, and scarlet fever to reach the 1960 Summer Games in Rome, where she won gold in the 100 and 200 meters and the 4x100 relay.
If you've ever seen a person run a curve, no one in the world can run a curve like Wilma Rudolph. I mean, she looked like a beautiful gazelle just floating through the air, and she was absolutely beautiful.
And then she would just start to accelerate like a railroad train, and well, perhaps more like Secretariat.
3 Olympic gold medals for Wilma Rudolph was a seminal event in American track and field for women. It had never been done before.
She was an icon. Like, you can't forget her. She was the queen.
I just admired her for what she had done at the Olympics, and I just thought, maybe I could do that.
She had it rotten in the beginning and she had it rotten in the end. But oh my God, in the middle, it was just wonderful. It was glorious.
12.
And the ground ball is short. He did it. He did it. No-hitter for Jim Abbott.
Best thing I can say about that game is that it didn't surprise Jim Abbott.
12.
Born in 1967 without a right hand, Jim Abbott taught himself to field and pitched 10 seasons in the major leagues. His crowning achievement came on September 4th, 1993, when the Yankees left-hander threw his way into history.
Jim Abbott's one no-hitter is more impressive than all of Nolan Ryan's.
And a ground ball tapped to third, fair. Boggs with the throw. 1, 2, 3 in the 7th.
He had no idea it's no hitter. You look up and there's no hits. Oh, he might have something.
Abbott working on a no-hitter into the 8th.
I really had a resigned feeling to make my pitches and let it happen.
And the ground ball is short. Velarde. He did it. He did it. No-hitter for Jim Abbott.
For Jim Abbott to throw that no-hitter was a tremendously inspiring thing.
Jim Abbott throws a no-hitter.
My playing with one hand isn't just a story of making it. It's making it and being good.
That's got to be the most improbable no-hitter and the one that deserves the most admiration.
11.
They got Vinatieri in range. I'll tell you, what Tom Brady just did gives me goosebumps.
The NFL road is littered with guys like Tom Brady who get picked in the 6th round, hang around for a couple of years, then are a dentist somewhere.
No time on the clock, and the Patriots have won Super Bowl 36.
Cinderella came from nowhere, and so did Tom Brady.
11.
Taken by New England, Tom Brady was the 199th overall pick in the 2000 draft. After replacing an injured Drew Bledsoe in September of 2001, he guided the Patriots to a Super Bowl championship. Over the next 3 seasons, he won 2 more rings.
When he was drafted, Brady, the printout was, will compete for a practice squad position, maybe backup 3rd string in the NFL.
He has great football intelligence as well as great football talent.
He is the most unassuming superstar that you'll ever meet, and he's not an I guy, he's a team guy.
And I remember when he came out against the Raiders in that snowstorm, and I saw him throw these deep comebacks. I saw him throw those square ends. I go, this guy's for real. He's going to be something.
It's great players in this game, but when you could make other players better, you surpass greatness.
After 5 years in the NFL, Tom Brady is not in Joe Montana's league. He's slightly above it.
And you give him 3, 4, 5 more years, he might be the greatest quarterback of all time, but we shall see.
10.
An all-black Texas Western team beats Adolph Rupp's mighty Kentucky 5 in the NCAA championship game. An historic upset, but also an historic social game.
And I don't think any other national championship game represented so much than that national championship game.
10.
In 1966, Texas Western jumped onto the basketball scene with the first all-black starting 5 in a national championship game. The 3rd-ranked Miners met history in the form of Coach Adolph Rupp's all-white Kentucky Wildcats, ranked number 1.
This was one great thunderclap, and it would not have been one great thunderclap had it been Texas Western against Maryland or Texas Western against LaSalle. In terms of impact, watching 5 African-American players tee up Adolph Rupp and everything Adolph Rupp stood for, that was extraordinarily important.
I could feel their passion, and I could feel the intensity of that team. I do believe they were probably playing for a little bit more than we were.
When the game was over, it was a tremendous, silence for a while. Nobody really believed that could happen. You know, I think a lot of coaches had their eyes opened in 1966 because of that game.
I think it was a milestone in college basketball. It sent the signal out that we better broaden the pool of talent.
Season ends with a Super Bowl victory for the Rams.
Hollywood would have looked at this script and go, oh, come on. There's no way anybody would believe this. It was literally a storybook season.
9.
Kurt Warner's MVP performance in Super Bowl 34 was the pinnacle of a journey back from failure. Discarded by the Packers in 1994, he worked at a Hy-Vee food store. Then after playing for Arena Football and NFL Europe teams, he got a second shot at the NFL. In 1999, he replaced injured Rams quarterback Trent Green.
Kurt Warner was a stock boy. I called up the grocery store he used to work at in Iowa. And one of the grocery store clerks says, yeah, I used to work with Kurt. Now I got him in my fantasy league.
Warner dropping. Looking, throws deep downfield for Bruce. He comes back and catches it.
He's the American dream. He's the story that, through perseverance, that anything can happen.
Touchdown, Rams!
Yeah, I've been waiting for the opportunity. Now it's my turn to go out on the football field and just play.
McNair drop. Throws right side for Dyson. He dives for the end zone.
Here I am raising my hand, you know, like touchdown, and all of a sudden, linebacker came and tackled Dyson on the 1-yard line.
The Rams win by a yard.
It only goes to show that you could find some pretty good quarterbacks under some pretty obscure rocks. You just keep looking.
Rulon Gardner has shocked the wrestling world. A 1-0 gigantic upset of the Russian legend, Alexander Karelin.
Russia's Alexander Karelin had not lost a wrestling match in 13 years. Then in the 2000 Sydney Olympics, Wyoming native son Rulon Gardner, primed by visions of gold, ended the strongman streak.
Here's the big guy from Russia, you know, the dominating world figure, invincible.
Russian Federation, Alexander Karelin. Karelin was undefeated for what, 100 years? Representing the United States of America, Rulon Gardner's this farm guy. What are you talking about?
A 1-0 lead. That has got to bolster the confidence for Rulon Gardner.
1 point is an eternity for a wrestler.
That's it! Oh my! Do you believe in miracles again? Rulon Gardner has upset the king!
He wins the gold medal in overtime. That's a great Cinderella story. You're not supposed to beat the Russian bear, and he did.
7, 7, 7, 7.
10 seconds, 9 seconds. Bobby Clark dribbling, 6 seconds. Clark going down, jump, shoots in the circle, score!
When the ball left my hands, I knew the shot was going in. Looking back, it made a significant change in our lives.
7, 7.
In 1954, the Indiana High School Basketball Championship was on the line when Little Milan met Muncie Central. With an enrollment more than 7 times larger, the game became a touchstone in the state's collective memory and later entered the national culture as a feature film.
People pretty much focused on one thing at that time. In Indiana, it was basketball.
In 1954, there were 752 teams. They're all thrown into the state tournament.
And everything just broke right, miraculously. And we were in the state finals all of a sudden.
Down the corner, Clark, he breaks down the lane, lays it up and in!
Everybody likes to tell that story to instill in the young people, you know, that this can't happen.
Got the ball back, and with 5 or 6 seconds to go, just as in the movie Hoosiers, you'll see him fake left, went right, and a jump shot. I didn't think about winning the state tournament, but I knew we were going to win that game.
6, 6, 6.
69 Mets, to me, are the ultimate Cinderella story.
6, 6.
I think it was Ed Kranepool asked how the Mets would do that, and he said, you know, people are going to be walking on the moon before the Mets ever win anything. And he was right, but just by a few months, you know.
6, 6.
The Mets were a miracle of faith and a thorn in the side of Las Vegas. After they finished 9th in their 7th season in the majors, the odds makers gave New York's other team a 100-to-1 chance to win the 1969 National League pennant.
The 69 Mets are never going to get too little attention because they're a New York darling and a Mets fan darling. On the other hand, they are one of the New York teams that gets great credit that actually deserves it.
You want to make any analogy to life of a person facing long odds, the baseball analogy to me is the 69 Mets.
There really was the feeling that anything is possible if the Mets, if the Mets could win the series.
Really completed the story.
Waiting is Jones. The Mets are the world champions.
The Mets show that when you're inspired, when you get momentum rolling your way, that a baseball team can rise up for a week and play above itself, play a whole level above itself, and those Mets did.
5-5.
The game is over. The New York Jets are the world champions. They have upset the Baltimore Colts and beat them handily here today.
From day one, man, we knew we could beat them.
Another miracle that occurred earlier in 1969. Broadway Joe Namath led the AFL champion Jets against the 15-1 Colts, who had pummeled the Browns to secure the NFL title. In Super Bowl III, New York was expected to fold under what was believed to be superior forces.
No one gave us a chance, being 18 points underdog.
Hey, they were a good team, otherwise they wouldn't have been there. We didn't take them lightly.
I almost felt sorry for the Colts. We had Joe.
How could we lose?
Joe Namath. Joe Namath, who likes girls.
Namath again. Nice protection. It's complete to Snell.
We used to put 11 people up there on the line of scrimmage and either blitz or fake the blitz, and Namath was able to handle our blitz.
Namath is picking the Baltimore secondary to pieces right now.
The world was telling them that they were the better of the two teams, and if we played 10 times, maybe they would have won one or two.
The New York Jets are the world champions.
The Rebels beat the establishment.
Four.
Houston's defense will be swarming, you better believe it.
Houston with 5 slamma-jamma, ranked number 1. And here comes Jim Valvano and this ragtag North Carolina State team, the team that barely got in.
5 seconds left to Wittenberg. Wittenberg tries about a 30-footer. No good, step back. Lorenzo Charles slams it in. The Cinderella team has done it.
It's anybody's game, baby. And for that moment, it was NC State's.
4.
When head coach Jim Valvano's 6-seeded Wolfpack reached the 1983 NCAA tournament final, they were confronted by a national power led by Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. Houston had won 26 straight games, and few expected its streak to end against NC State. But with seconds left, all bets were off.
When we came out, we were going to hold the ball a little bit and try to get the last shot.
So the Wolfpack has it in midcourt, and the clock is ticking. Wittenberg's double team gets it to Gannon, who checked in. Now to Lowe.
I saw Thurl Bailey in the corner, which is his shot. So I hit Thurl with the ball. He didn't take the shot.
Now Sidney goes to Bailey in the corner.
He threw it all the way up to the top.
Wittenberg shoots the jumper. It's short, and out of nowhere comes Lorenzo Charles.
Lorenzo Charles grabbed it, stuffed it back in.
I just happened to be standing up under the basket at the time, so I could see that the ball was going to fall short.
The Cinderella team has done it. The glass slipper fit. The Wolfpack has won the national championship.
And who would ever forget when it all ended, running around the court, looking for somebody to hug, Jimmy V, a moment that'll always stand out in college basketball.
If he doesn't win that game, we don't get to know Jimmy Valvano the way we do. And because of the way his life ended, I think that was destiny.
Three.
Cinderella wears the glass slipper. The Villanova Wildcats are the champions of college basketball.
3.
When number 1 Georgetown met 8th-seeded Villanova in the 1985 NCAA tournament final, it was favored by 9.5 points. But when Raleigh Massimino's Wildcats made 22 of 28 shots from the floor, the Hoyas failed to retain their national title.
We were the Raiders. We were the Raiders of college basketball. And everybody hated us, and we loved kicking everybody's butts.
Everybody said, this Georgetown team was absolutely intimidating.
The Georgetown players knew they were in for a tough game. We had played them tough twice during the season.
They were Big East rivals, so they knew us just like we knew them. They didn't want to, tussle with us. They would have never won a game, so they used finesse.
I sat there on press row, and I kept expecting the bubble to burst. It still doesn't seem like it's real to me.
Good. The Cats by 1, 55 to 54.
I think they started to feel the pressure of the Georgetown aura.
It's inbounded to Dwayne McClain, and the clock goes off, and that
Did we just win? Yeah, we won. Can I hug? Who am I going to go hug?
The Villanova Wildcats are the champions of college basketball.
2. 2.
I knew that I could do this game, that I could box, that I could be in here with the best of them.
Oh, Tyson nailed! Down goes Tyson! What a shock! It's not over! The biggest upset in the history of boxing! James Buster Douglas, the new heavyweight champion of the world!
A 42-1 underdog, challenger Buster Douglas faced the great intimidator Iron Mike Tyson for the heavyweight title in 1990. At 37-0, the snarling street kid radiated invincibility. Cinderella looked down from the rafters of that arena in Tokyo and whispered to Douglas, "This is your night."
Buster Douglas could not be intimidated on that night.
Historically, Buster Douglas was never in shape. He was always kind of a second-tier heavyweight. We all figured just in due time it's over. But Buster Douglas held on and fought back strong.
I don't think anybody on this planet that I'm aware of thought that Buster Douglas was going to win that fight.
Tyson, we never expect to see this. Does he know where he is? We get a new heavyweight champion. We have a new heavyweight champion.
This is a miracle. This is one of those once-in-a-lifetime situations.
Welcome back to Who's Number One and the 20 best Cinderella stories of all time. Here's what we've seen so far.
20.
Seabiscuit.
19.
Indiana State reaches 1979 NCAA final.
18.
2001 New England Patriots.
17.
George Foreman at 45 regains heavyweight title.
16.
Boris Becker at 17 wins Wimbledon.
15.
1988 Dodgers stun A's.
14.
John Daly wins 1991 PGA Championship.
13.
Wilma Rudolph.
12.
Jim Abbott.
11.
Tom Brady.
10.
Texas Western beats Kentucky.
9.
Kurt Warner.
8.
Rulon Gardner.
7.
Milan's upset.
6.
1969 Mets.
5.
Jets beat Colts in Super Bowl III.
4.
North Carolina State wins 1983 NCAA title.
3.
Villanova beats Georgetown for the 1985 NCAA crown.
2.
Buster Douglas KOs Mike Tyson. Midnight nears, the number one Cinderella about to be revealed.
1.
It's never just a hockey game. When you put on that jersey, it's an unbelievable sense of pride that you represent your country and everything that we stand for.
In 1980, in the latter stages of the Cold War, the U.S. faced the USSR in a power struggle of Olympian measure. A bunch of college kids took on the Soviets' Big Red Machine. The outcome will forever be remembered as the miracle on ice.
We were the ultimate underdog. I mean, we had no chance of winning this hockey game.
Buzz Snyder losing it out to the point. Slap shot, and it was deflected in.
The Soviet Union hadn't lost an Olympic hockey game since 1960. They had beaten the Rangers, they'd beaten the Maple Leafs, they beat the Montreal Canadiens.
They were professionals. We were amateurs.
They were arrogant. They were better than everybody else. They won their games with ease. There was nothing to celebrate for them. They were supposed to win.
Golikov, number 23, leaving it for Makarov. He's trying to get it back to Golikov, then gets it back and scores.
The going against Soviets, you know, you always had in your mind, are you going to lose 10-0 or 5-0?
The U.S. Pavlich up ahead to Schneider. Shot goes in for Schneider.
We weren't just flukes. We all kind of knew what we were doing on the ice.
Up ahead to Maltsev. Maltsev on a breakaway. Maltsev gets it by Craig to give the Soviets the lead.
At that point in the game, there had been a little bit of a lull, and the Soviets had started to take the game to us a little bit. Having a power play would at least give us the opportunity to shift the momentum and create some energy.
13 seconds left in the penalty. Big shot for Davis. By Justin, they score!
If you told me we'd be tied with 12 to 13 minutes left to go in the game, I'd have told you we had a good chance of winning.
Finally, the building has come to life. Eruzione! Mike Eruzione! Now we've got Bedlam.
We looked up at the clock, and there was exactly 10 minutes to go. It was the longest 10 minutes of my life.
4-3, 10 minutes. It's a long time.
I went out, took a shift, went back, and looked up, and it looks like the clock said 9:59.
2:25, 2:24, 2:23 remaining.
As the clock began to tick down and the minutes became seconds, you could feel it.
28 seconds. The crowd going insane.
And the noise in that building was palpable.
You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
People not realize in the beginning what's happened, but after that, everybody start thinking, oh, something happened to us. You know, like we lost to the college guys. It's impossible.
The Russians couldn't believe that they lost. It was a national shame.
You know what? You can throw the talent out. It doesn't matter. It's a game of emotion, and it's a game of passion.
So here we have 20 happily ever afterings, 20 glorious comebacks, 20 overcomings to warm the heart. But as usual, we want to know, did we get it right? Who better to analyze ESPN's classic Cinderella rankings than our resident second guessers, Bert Randolph Sugar and Nick Acicella? Gentlemen, what do you have?
Well, once again, we have a list here that starts last week. I have never seen lists put together by 12-year-olds before, but I've got them.
Half the things on this list don't belong here, and they left off all the important
I'm
stuff.
going to tell you the greatest Cinderella story in sports. 1913, Francis Ouimet wins the U.S. Open against Varden and Ray, a young kid. And he beats the two best golfers in the world, and is the first American to win a major tournament. Where is it on here?
It's not on here. It's not on here.
Oh, great. It's because it came after 1960.
But they even got stuff after 1960 wrong. I mean, where's Ruffian? Ruffian has to be on this list somewhere. Has to be. Where's Brian Doyle, my particular favorite? The guy comes up and replaces Willie Randolph in 1978. The second man hits 192 during the season.
If you're going to do
460 in the World Series.
If you're going to do the latest Cinderella stories, do the Doug
Flutie. Doug Flutie has to be on this list. Of course.
Kurt Warner goes from a supermarket to the Super Bowl. What did he do? Win the drawing of the lottery?
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean, they're on here, and Tom Brady, good. He was a 6th-round draft choice.
Yeah.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah, very exciting.
Cinderella stories to me are Seabiscuits.
In Seabiscuit, they've got 20th. Seabiscuit's got to be top 5.
How about the horse upset? Do you know what the horse upset was?
The horse upset would be Man of War. Right.
1919 at Saratoga.
Right.
From whence cometh the term upset.
Where's Dusty Rhodes? I mean, the ultimate Cinderella, if you like your Cinderellas with a couple of scotches in them. I mean...
Where?
Yeah, right. The guy's a lifetime 250, 260 hitter, comes into the World Series in 1954, becomes the star. Hits a home run to win game 1, hits another home run, bats over 400. And where's Jimmy Braddock? Didn't we have a movie last year that called him the Cinderella Man? Where's Jimmy Braddock?
I mean, it was a great story. It was a terrible fight.
It may not have been a great fight, but here is every man becomes the heavyweight champion of the world.
1960.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's not eligible.
Sorry, I forgot. I
mean,
that's
honest
the
to goodness, if we can get somebody there who had a sense of history.
I give them, you know, the Miracle on Ice, but where's 1960?
At Squaw Valley.
Yeah.
Where they had
right.
I mean, they did it.
That wasn't before 1960. It was 1960.
That still doesn't qualify.
Still doesn't qualify. Okay.
I mean, they had done it. The Americans had done it
20 years
before.
earlier. 20 years earlier.
Before Placid. I mean, the whole thing is skewed to what I remember in the last 5 minutes.
What about Gene Bearden, who won the playoff game in 1948 for the Cleveland Indians?
Gene Bearden would be, and he's a rookie. And that's his 20th game, and he was a war hero who had been injured.
And the guy only won 20-something games in the rest of his career.
You got Cinderella stories that are just wonderful, and I don't see them here, and I'm sorry.
Ruffian, number 2.
Francis Ouimet, number 1.
All right.
You've just heard it from us. I don't know what you've heard from these people. We're sure we're right, though.
So that's it for this edition of Who's Number One. Thanks for joining us for ESPN Classic's ranking of the 20 best Cinderella stories of all time. We'll be back to continue our countdown of the teams, the athletes, and the events that have shaped our sports world. Until then, let the debating begin.